spelled right. Is this in May too?
I'll talk to you about that later. Yeah. They asked if I recommended it, and I said yes. All right. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Gates County Board of Commissioners and Gates County Board of Education Joint Special Meeting. My name is Emily Truman, and I serve as the 2025 Board Chair of the Board of Commissioners. I'm joined by Commissioner Nathan Berryman, Vice Chair Jonathan Craddock, Commissioner Dave Forsyth, and County Manager Scott Sauer, and Clerk to the Board Renee Draper. Our County Attorney and Commissioner Brian Roundtree are unable to make it due to previous engagements and unforeseen circumstances. I'm now going to turn it over to Madam Chair Ryan.
Thank you. And I shall call this side of the Board of Education meeting in session. Dr. Williams, Reverend Riddick, Leslie Barham, Terry Riddick, and myself, Sally Ryan, the chair of this year. We are glad to be here. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, I'm going to have Commissioner Craddock do the pledge and prayer.
Let us pray. Father God, we come to you tonight, first of all, to give you thanks. Thank you for this day that you have made, and let us rejoice and be glad in it. Father God, settle down with us tonight to help us see each other's difference in lights. Father God, please settle down with us and help us make these decisions most informed as we can. We ask these things all in your name above all names, Jesus Christ, our Lord and Savior. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Thank you, sir. I'm now going to ask for a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved.
So seconded.
All right, all in favor by show of hands. All right, that is unanimous. So we have the agenda approved by the commissioners. I'll turn it over to the Board of Education.
I need an approving the agenda, please.
Use the microphones for home. You're fine.
Forgive me. I need a motion to approve the agenda for the Board of Education side of this.
Madam Chair, I make a motion we approve the agenda as written.
Second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. So be it.
Thank you. All right, so we're working around mics here. We know that there are some watching from home, so we're going to try and make sure that we do everything through the microphones. But on behalf of the Gates County Board of Commissioners, I want to extend a warm welcome to our colleagues from the Board of Education and to thank you for joining us tonight. We truly appreciate your time and commitment to working together on the important matters facing our public schools. We're committed to setting a regular quarterly schedule so that we can continue building a strong partnership that benefits our students, families, and the entire Gates County community. I'm going to turn it back over to Madam Chair.
Good evening from the Gates County Board of Education. I would first like to tell the people sitting in the audience and the people who are streaming that we are also very glad that you are here with us. And to the Board of Commissioners, thank you for hosting this quarterly meeting. I know it has taken us a while to get this meeting scheduled, yet we are excited that this meeting may set an example and begin to set a pattern for positive work and collaboration by our two entities. We welcome periodic joint meetings between our boards as a means of strengthening the relationship with the Board of Commissioners. Every community is better when your public officials set an example of working together. Our community needs will be better met by our honest and truthful dialogue, and we hope this meeting will show our community that we all wish for the very same thing. The first thing for us, of course, is to give our students the very best education possible. The first thing for you is not only that, but to also make sure that you offer your community exactly what is the best thing. So thank you again, Commissioners, for meeting with us, and thank everyone for joining us tonight.
All right, thank you, ma'am. All right, so moving down, we're doing something a little different than we've done at joint meetings before and offering the public comments. So, Ms. Draper, is there anyone signed up to speak to the board this evening?
Ms. Cassandra Roundtree.
And I just ask anyone coming up to speak if you could state your name and voting district for the record, and there is a 3-minute timer that will be set for that. So, thank you.
Hi, my name's Cassandra Roundtree. I'm in the Hobbsville voting district. I come here as a parent to multiple kids that have gone through or are currently in New Beginnings, as well as a member of the community. I don't think that there's any argument to how important this resource is for the community and how it is important to have a safe space for our children to grow into human beings that give back to this community and that lead into the same school systems that are in this community. The problem that I think a lot of us are facing is the lack of transparency and discussion about where the daycare stands. There's a lot of gray area when it comes to when they're fully under the school system and when they're not. Over the years, it's felt like it's been nitpicky on when it follows school's rules and when it doesn't. So currently, if it's under the school and it's under the school's budget, that needs to be discussed publicly. It should be part of public record and part of the audit every year. It's right now unclear on if it's a part of the audit because the child care that I see listed on the audit speaks more to the 4-H after-school program. So for the community to be able to rally and raise funds and give this daycare a chance, we need to know what it needs to raise. We need to know the goal. We need to know where it's going to. We need to know what grants are being taken advantage. There's a lot in this state going towards child care right now, including a task force that was set up by the governor earlier this year. There are resources out there. They're not always easy to get. I used to work for the state. I used to apply and manage grants. They're not easy. Budgets are not easy. At the end of the day, there's been many budget discussions around the schools in this county for the past few years. So it's making sure that our daycare is given a fair chance and is not just, we want to make sure we're addressing the root issues so that we can provide to the community moving forward. Most of these kids go to these schools, they give back to this community, and we're trying to support that. We just want to be given a chance. And if the school board has made up their mind, I ask you to be honest with us tonight and not drag this out for parents or teachers that have to find work, parents who have to find childcare who don't necessarily come from families in this area who can watch their children. And as someone who's seen other coworkers battle with finding appropriate, safe, educational daycares in larger towns such as Elizabeth City and Perquimans, it would be a real shame to lose something like this in this community. Thank you for your time tonight.
Thank you.
Ms. Carolyn Hurdle.
Good afternoon to the members of the Board of Education and our county commissioners. I am Carolyn Hurdle. Our voting district is Gates, North Carolina. I'm here today speaking on behalf of myself as one of the co-directors of New Beginnings Daycare Center, and I'm not as well versed as my last parent, so I'm going to read what I have, and hopefully you will consider what is being said in a loving way, not to point fingers or make anybody feel inferior. It's just my synopsis. I'm writing to you, to the members of the Board of Education. I am writing to respectfully urge the board to reconsider the proposed closure of New Beginnings Daycare Center. Our center has been proudly serving the Gates County community since the early 2000s, and during this time, we have become a cornerstone of early childhood education and family support. Generations of families have entrusted us with their children, many enrolling siblings year after year. New Beginnings is truly a unicorn, one of a kind in our state, and was recently honored as Daycare of the Year by the News Herald. Despite our success and recognition, we are now facing serious financial challenges due to declining enrollment and limited funding opportunities. Currently, there are no available grants for existing centers, only for new ones. We are a nonprofit program sustained solely by tuition. We have 3 classrooms. The first classroom is infants, which is birth to 2 years. We charge $225 per week. The second classroom is toddlers, 2 years to 3 years, and we charge $215 per week. Preschool, 3 to 5 years, $205 per week. We are comparable to the daycare centers that have been established so far. I think we may be off about $5. There's a $5 difference in the prices that is going in our community thus far. At full enrollment, which for us would be 40 children, these rates allow us to operate sustainably with 1 director and a team of 9 to 10 staff members, 3 of which would be full-time. However, we currently serve about 19 children, primarily due to transitions to pre-K and kindergarten, as well as concerns surrounding our potential closure. The resulting uncertainty has led several families to withdraw their children, further worsening our financial position. Adding a second director in August has also increased our financial strain. While we appreciate the intent behind this decision, it has created additional payroll costs without corresponding enrollment growth. Compounding this, I have no direct knowledge of the financial matters basically concerning the daycare. My limited involvement only includes making tuition deposits. This lack of direct oversight has created a disconnect between financial decisions and daily operations. Despite these challenges, our staff and families remain committed to keeping New Beginnings open. We have organized fundraisers, increased advertising for open enrollment, and are actively implementing cost-saving measures, such as pausing the food program, possibly restructuring staffing, and encouraging families to provide possibly bagged lunches temporarily. Staff members regularly purchase classroom materials out of pocket and continue to invest their own time and resources into maintaining a warm, nurturing, and educational environment. There are also tangible benefits to the board maintaining ownership of our center. For example, we are exempt from paying annual license fees, saving between $500 and $700 each year. However, the disconnect between financial management and center leadership can and should be addressed. I propose that we work together to create a strategic plan built on SMART goals, specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound to strengthen our operations, stabilize enrollment, and ensure fiscal responsibility. I am currently completing administrative coursework specifically focused on developing and managing early childhood programs, which has already given me new insights into effective leadership, budgeting, and program evaluation. I am eager to apply this knowledge to help guide New Beginnings toward long-term sustainability. Our mission is the same as yours, to present the people of Gates County and to give our children the very best start in life. The first 2,000 days of a child's life are the foundation of all future learning and development. The true cost of closing our center cannot be measured in dollars and cents. It would mean the loss of a trusted, nurturing environment that has shaped the lives of countless children and families. I respectfully ask the board to partner with us rather than to close our doors. Together, we can develop a realistic, actionable plan to secure the future of New Beginnings Daycare Center for children, the families, and the community we proudly serve. Thank you for your time, your understanding, and your consideration. Sincerely, Carolyn Hurdle, Co-Director of New Beginnings Daycare Center.
Thank you. Is there any way to get the time back up on the screen? I know that went over the 3 minutes, but I cannot see the timer to know when it did run out. Thank you. Were there any others signed up? No, okay. Well, never mind. Disregard. Okay. All right, well, thank you both for speaking. We're going to move forward with the discussion. Tonight's agenda touches on several key areas, including long-term facility needs, public school priorities, and the developments around the New Beginnings Daycare. These are critical conversations, and I'm confident that through collaboration and open dialogue, we can make meaningful progress together. So at this time, if we're going down in order, we have just the public school matters, and I do want to defer to County Manager Sauer if he wanted to guide the beginning of this conversation.
I'd be happy to.
Okay.
I think, first of all, it's important to recognize that our collaborative efforts are very much intended by the General Assembly. In the School Budget and Fiscal Control Act, they state that our budget format is specifically is intended to facilitate the accomplishment of two major objectives. One, to enable the Board of Education and the Board of Commissioners to make local educational and local fiscal policies therein. And second, to control and facilitate fiscal management of the local school administrative unit. We have copies of the daycare budget as it was presented to the board for the current fiscal year, 25-26. We've got copies up on the table, and I think it'd be important for folks to just take a look at that. Staffing for the year we're currently in was budgeted, and this is for salaries and fringe benefits, was budgeted at $314,000. If we look at the fiscal year that was just closed, June 30, 2025, and I understand this is a draft document that's been shared with us, the payment to employees for salary and fringes was $367,000. So we closed a year spending $367,000. We're moving forward, having budgeted $314,000. Likewise, on the operational cost, the budget for the year we're presently in, 25-26, is $28,623 for operating cost. The year that we just closed out, the draft audit indicates $40,012, so we're about $12,000 above what we've budgeted for the current year. And there's probably a likely explanation, but I think it's worth noting that the audit reflects on the cash flow statement, which is Exhibit 9 in your audit, that we finished the year, June 30, 25, with a $94,000 deficit for the child care program. There was a draft letter from the auditors dated October 13th, and again, I recognize this as draft, they made a number of appropriate recognitions and suggestions for further discussion, but I did not see a notice of the child care deficit, and I was very interested to hear that the first speaker mentioned the audit. The audit, as it is written on page 26, states that the child care fund is used to account for the after-school care program at the elementary schools within the school system. I think our auditors may need to be refreshed that the after-school program, while it is very important, is currently administered by the North Carolina Cooperative Extension Gates County Center. And I've confirmed with staff that the after-school program has been in existence since prior to 1995, and the current budget is just over $32,000 for that program. In looking back at some previous audits, it was last reported at the June 30, 2021 audit that the child care fund is used to account for the child care program within the school system and is reported as an enterprise fund. And by enterprise fund, the county commissioners typically think of a program like our transportation, the GETS program. It is a user fee supported program. Our water and sewer fund is a user fee supported program. And I think at the time the board was reviewing the budget for 25-26 as it was approved, it was indicating that we would have user fees and other funds such as grant funds adequate to cover the expenditures. The revenue that was budgeted for the year we're in, 25-26, is $307,000. The revenue that was paid by customers, parents, families, for the year that just ended, June 30, 2025, was $306,661. So not knowing what might have changed between June 30 and moving into the new fiscal year, it would appear that last fiscal year we had income adequate to meet the current year's payment by parents. And I realize there might be other things that have changed, but I'm comparing the school budget as it was presented to the board with the draft audit. And I realize this is a draft document that you all may have not completely reviewed, but it certainly provides a foundational basis for the board as they begin their quest for more information and a better understanding of the situation that we are presented with tonight, which is over and above our discussion about the universal nutrition for breakfast and lunch, the consolidation strategies and the options they hope to review, and again, our performance against goals when it comes to maintaining a fund balance, recruiting and retaining staff, and certainly elevating our school performance.
Right. So I guess it'd probably be best to take it chunk by chunk because that was a lot of information rather than getting into anything further before discussions. So I know we can open it up for board discussion based on that information that was just presented. And I'll say for both boards.
That I am correct.
Can you use the mic? Sorry.
I believe that I am correct in saying that our budget from the state and from the county does not have any daycare monies involved. The daycare was started 22 years ago, and at that time it was self-sufficient to pay for staff, food, and everything. And it has not continued to be this way. If you have any child care listed, it is not our child care. It is a child care across the street. That's the after-school program.
Well, I believe it was tab 9 of the school's budget presentation.
Okay, you know that's above my pay level,
Okay.
the tab 9. Mr. Harrell, I know you're here somewhere. Can you help me with that? I'm sorry.
This was in the proposed budget. There was a multicolored tab.
That's Ms. Hurdle's proposed budget. I don't think that came from the office. Is that the one that was passed out?
Well, it was in the, yes, it was in the document that the school board, this says,
It does say daycare. but
it says
it's the child
daycare
nutrition money.
program.
This was in that book.
I got you.
Yeah.
I think it's the daycare nutrition money. Let him, as I said, it's over my pay grade.
And if we have any comments, if we could have it through the microphone.
I don't think this should have been in there. And you say you received this with Mr. Harrell's stuff that he emailed you?
No. This was distributed back in June with the Board of Education's budget proposal. And as you recall, we had a number of department heads and folks present, and it's got a really nice multicolored tabbed layout. And I believe it's tab number 9.
Yes.
Mr. Sauer, did I understand you to say that according to the draft financial statements that there was a profit for the daycare last year for the 24-25 year?
It was a deficit.
It was a deficit.
No, it was a $94,000 deficit.
That's correct. Okay.
The state does not allocate any monies to us for childcare.
And I
It
think
is
that's
separate.
understood, that this was
Okay.
established as a fee-for-service enterprise.
Years ago.
And I think that was the board's understanding when they saw the budget this year.
Okay.
And so the budget presented in this year that was passed did not account for any monies going to the daycare, and that since that has changed. So prior to, was it budgeted to be self-sustaining when we adopted the budget? Oh, it was assumed to be self-sustaining at that time? Okay. And then the major changes have been the co-director hiring and then drop in enrollments collectively.
Well, I think we started having difficulties back when the state mandated that any person who worked for a public school system, and see, they come under our auspices, even though they're not really, they are our employees. They get benefits and they get the taxes and all those sorts of things the school takes care of. But we do not get any money for those 4 full-time and 9 part-time people. That the money has had to be raised through the enrollment. And when the state said we had to pay everybody $15 an hour, is when we first started having some difficulty in making payments.
That was in 22, I believe.
I believe you're correct. It was right before Mr. Harrell got here.
Has there been any type of corrective measures to stay within the revenue range? That's been, because it's been pretty consistent as far as, especially, Mr. Harrell, thank you for sending all this to us, by the way. So I went through several things that Mr. Harrell sent us, and it seems like the revenue month over month over month is pretty close, and it doesn't change a lot. So recognizing that the thought was that this was going to be a standalone entity to be able to, self-sufficient, all that kind of good stuff. Has there been any type of corrective measures to be able to reduce our costs so that way we can stay within the revenue stream that was coming in month over month?
In 23-24, we paid $50,000 out of our general fund to make them online. Last year for 24-25, we paid $75,000 to keep them afloat. And this year in 25-26, we have already paid $50,000 to date. And as you all know, and talk to us about funding, the funding that we receive is for our schools.
And I can
And we're
appreciate
running into a big dark hole with trying to keep this open.
And I can appreciate that, and one of the things we talked about earlier when we were just chit-chatting is like, things that happened in the past, happened in the past, and, you know, we can all sit up here and debate what all that kind of stuff was and all that kind of good stuff. But at the end of the day, we got to move forward, and we got to figure out a solution. We got to work together to do that. And so is it the board's thoughts that some type of corrective measures needs to happen with the expenses to be able to get it within the operational range of the revenues?
Nathan, one of the things that I learned when I came on the board was the daycare is under state stipulations of how many people have to be in a room, and they can't leave the room. So, you know, if you've got one teacher in the room, then there's got to be somebody else there if they need to go to the bathroom or if they're out for sick or whatever. So you have to teeter around that, making sure you're meeting all of those standards at the same time, those ratios at the same time. And those ratios are different depending on the ages of the kids, of how many the staff to student ratio has to be. So that's one of the things that you teeter around trying to figure it out. I know they have had trying to bounce around part-time people because, you know, you can, you don't have to pay the benefits and stuff with them. So that we're heavy on the part-time people versus the full-time people. And we had co-directors because at the time, there wasn't anybody that had all of the credentials to be, so we had it as a co-director because one held all the credentials, and then the management, the two of them, and they were bouncing back and forth in a class. It's not like both of them are doing director jobs all the time. It's like one of them is in a class when the other's doing administrative duties and vice versa. They split time with that, so.
And I can appreciate that, and I understand that, you know, you got to have so many teachers and assistants and all that, depending on what your level is as far as the kids, and infants do take more than a 3-year-old and all that kind of good stuff. But there's other daycares in the area that have to meet those exact same ratios and all that.
Those daycares do not have to pay $15 an hour. We do.
Okay, so how is there a different classification for our teachers that are in the daycare environment? Do we have to classify them as teachers, or can they be classified as daycare workers?
All workers. It is my understanding that all workers within our system that receive an hourly wage must receive $15 an hour.
Okay.
So one thing that happened is when some of our people who were not receiving $15 an hour, but were like maybe $3 over, so when the $15 per hour mandate came in, those people are now making $18 an hour because we couldn't cut their salary because of time, experience, and all of that. So,
Okay. Has there been any type of discussion as far as moving that outside of the school system and maybe bringing in a
Like a
separate
private,
entity to
yeah.
be able to, like a private entity to do it?
we started off with talking to daycare owners who were in another county and talked to them about the possibility of taking over. We got so far as the lease.
Yeah.
And then they were stymied, I really think, because of the government shutdown.
Yeah.
And most recently, we have had 2 of our daycare employees who are interested in checking out the feasibility of looking at a situation where they too might look at leasing it. And they to date have decided they cannot.
Okay. What about as far as, and I'm just kind of throwing ideas out there. So,
I appreciate it.
yeah. What about as far as contract personnel? So that way they're not really working for the school system. You're contracted out at a based amount.
Just outside the box
That-
thinking there,
So that way you don't have to pay any type of benefits or anything like that. It's just a 1099 item. Here you go.
I do not know to the answer to that, but I think my HR director's here, if you would like to pose that question to her, and she's willing.
Just say today, that's not anything that we had talked about or had considered.
Could you do that? Don't know the rules, so.
I mean, I would have that further conversation, you know, we would have that further conversation about that. But I know that would take, if they would contract, that would take a separation from,
Yep.
you know, then the employee of Gates County Schools. So then that, you know, that process would have to take place first. So,
Yeah.
yeah, so that process would have to take place first, where the current employees would have to separate from Gates County Schools to then become a contract, but we haven't had those conversations.
Okay, all right, so here's a viable thing, because at the end of the day, it looks like the revenue stream is pretty constant month over month over month over month. And so now it's more about reducing our expenditures to be able to make us a real viable thing here.
which essentially without overhead of building and
Yes.
electricity and those things, the only real expense is salary.
It's salaries, yeah.
I will say that that is correct, but we are running very low with our numbers.
Yeah.
And that has not been something that is secret and not transparent to everyone. Our numbers have been low, but to date, daycare has not been able to raise those numbers.
Is there opportunity to be able to raise those numbers? I mean, I know that there's a lot of folks, I mean, we always say, hey, this is something that Gates County don't have a lot of daycares, and you hear a lot of
Right.
people talking about that all
Right.
the time.
What kind of recruitment, enrollment,
Yeah.
drive, anything like that that has happened.
Because I kind of liken this to more like a sales role, right? Because, you know, I come from the business world, and I got sales guys, and that's all their job is to do nothing but sell more work to be able for the company to do. And kids age out of the program, out of daycare, and they go off and start their school years. Well, there's always got to be some backfill to kind of come back in to be able to continue that revenue stream. So if we can maybe have a bigger push to be able to, because it looks like the numbers as they stand as far as the cost, you need to be close to like 30 kids
30,
to
yeah.
be able to make the numbers work. And could we push that as
And-
far as, that way it gets back to a self-sustaining thing?
And what is the total number of enrollment that they are capable of having at the staff that they have currently?
Ms. Hurdle said 40. That was
40?
not a number that I had
Just want to
heard.
verify. Okay, so 40. We're at 19 per the documents that we have. So we need to double, but at least, not even double, at least
I mean, let's get to the 30.
30 mark.
Yeah,
The 30 mark,
mark seems like it breaks.
looking at numbers, the 30 mark looks like it would be self-sustaining at, per what I did, and I could be off a little, 31 enrollments would be what it would need to be self-sustaining again. And because it is on here, the stabilization grant is a possibility next year that did not make it through for this year. And then can I ask to just clarification here on this, the source of that $25,000 loan, is that where you guys are moving funds into the daycare from the school fund?
Yes. When we first started doing this, financial director listed it as a loan.
Okay.
But to date, we have not received any money since 23-24.
And at this
None
point,
of the
it's-
loan has been able to be paid back.
So at this point, over 3 years, it's at 175,000.
Yes.
Okay,
Over 3 years.
over 3 years.
And that for a low-wealth county is astronomical.
Okay. And the stabilization grant, it can only be applied for once a year, and that would be coming up, I guess, in the spring, is that
In the
correct?
spring.
Okay.
The daycare, does it operate through the summer or just
So it's
365?
year-round, okay.
All right, we were at a $94,000 deficit last year.
Last year, yeah.
And you said, we're,
Stabilization grant was through the state, so there is no more stabilization grant till the governor or the budget is formulated for them to find money.
Okay.
So it's not consecutive, it's done until they come up with some more or something different.
Okay, and I'm just going to state that for home, those listening online, the stabilization grant is kind of frozen until state can come up with more funding from that based on the budget they currently don't really have. Okay.
And so far for this fiscal year, we're already at $50,000 deficit. Is that what you were saying?
That is correct.
All right. And I'm going to ask, just for the transparency of what was asked earlier, has a decision been made as of yet, or are we in a deciding phase?
I hate to even say this out loud. However, after the last meeting, our board had reconsidered, and we realized we cannot continue to financially support the operations of New Beginnings Daycare. We are willing to support a transfer of ownership. However, New Beginnings Daycare will not be operated by Gates County Schools past December 31st, 2025.
I know that
It's a
was,
board decision, and it was at our last meeting, and
okay. I know that was hard to read. I thank you for the transparency, and I just ask for that if we're having these conversations and a decision has been made, we need to know that up front where the school board is at on that, because that's going to redirect how conversations go in regard to the daycare in general.
Ms. Truman?
And quite honestly, I understand that because, when I'm reading the draft report from the accountants and what they had in their cover letter, you got to do something. And I understand that when you have something that's like a $90-some thousand year-over-year loss, you got to do something. And so that's why we're all here tonight. What is this something, right? And we're going to throw some ideas back and forth. They may not stick to the wall, but they may.
Right.
I would like to say that nobody on our board or the administration wants to see the daycare closed. But at the end of the day, the funding that we have is for K-12. And we cannot sacrifice the K-12 education system for the daycare that's supposed to be self-sustaining. And it used to be when it started, and for many years, there was like waiting list for kids to get into this daycare. And the daycare is just like anything else when you're talking about students. It ebbs and tides depending on who's moving out and how many you have coming in. So there's not that solid number that's always there. But I want everybody to know that this was not a decision that we came to lightly, and it's quite an emotional one. But we've also got to be realistic about we just can't sustain this out of the school system.
So, yes, ma'am.
Ms.
We
Truman.
cannot have comments from I know, and I know there are emotions on this, but we cannot have comments from the audience right now. And I 100% respect that this is emotional right now.
Ms. Truman,
Byron.
Governor Stein enacted the North Carolina Child Care Stabilization Grant in October of 2021. It ended June 30th of this year, 2025. And to my knowledge, and according to the Child Care Services, the stabilization grant is not being frozen.
You mean Cooper?
It has to be refunded.
Governor Cooper.
Governor Cooper,
Is that
right?
correct?
Not Stein.
No, it was Governor Stein that did it.
Oh, was it? Wow.
You're right, it was.
Say-
Governor Stein
Okay.
continued it on.
Okay.
Right, I'm sorry. Thank you, Mr. Forsythe. Right.
Okay.
So, can I ask a
Yes,
question?
sir.
I know everybody's dreading me asking, but, so I've had several people tell me they've been turned away from being allowed to enroll their kids there. I've been told that some senior school people have taken their kids out in anticipation, which leads me to be suspicious that there isn't either decision was made well ago that this was going to happen and started downsloping it. And to be quite frankly, that's disappointing. But I'd even say here is that We talked about budget back in May, 50,000. I mean, we coughed up 130, I think, for meals. We said something like 120 to try and help out with computers. Nobody mentioned this on the radar screen, and 50,000 seemed like that's something that easily back in May could have been brought to our attention. And quite honestly, I'd have voted for it wholeheartedly back then.
Right.
When you walk in the door suddenly at the last second, it makes me very much inflamed and like, I'm sorry, this is good and just cause for me, for folks to take action. Good and just cause to take action, to do things when this happens. And it's disappointing. I don't know what to say. I feel like it's all been said, and it's just like throwing my hands up in the air and saying, what do you do at this point?
Yeah. And I know it's going to be difficult. I'm not sure if the staff has been notified of this prior to tonight and that being read. I know I've seen that there are measures that have been taken by staff to try and raise funding. So I guess my question is that being read, are we still looking at options, or is that was the final decision for December 31st? I mean, that was y'all voted, that's decided it's closing on the 31st. Just want to verify, like, as we're moving forward in conversation, if there's,
Yeah, because
it really makes a difference as far as the
direction.
direction of this conversation. Like, that is the final decision of it being closed. It will not be under the school board, regardless of the funding raised, different options that come. It has to have another route to stay alive at this point. Is that correct?
I will say that I just had a message sent down to one of our, what our preference would be a private person come in and lease it. We had a very good lease done. We intend to take care of maintenance. We intend to take care of utilities. They will just be responsible for the everyday operations and payment of their people. That was a very good opportunity. And I just had something from Reverend Riddick, who said he talked to somebody yesterday who is interested in taking it over. We are very open to that. But, you know, we also have a school to run. And it's not like this should be nothing.
Okay. So I'm going to ask both boards if anybody has any questions or comments at this point.
I got a couple thoughts. All right, so if with that being the decision and where that's going, and I'm all for a private entity taking it over, because I mean I'm the type of person, if a private enterprise can do something rather than in public, then that's the better the option, you know. But you got to give it to that point, right? You got to get at that point where a private individual could take it over, and they're able to take over something they can turn into a venture they can actually make a little bit of money at least break even, or, you know, because at the end of the day, private individuals aren't for nonprofit; they are for profit, right? Mr. Sauer, what about as far as the county, as far as taking over the operation? Is it allowed by the state?
There are counties that offer daycare services for their own employees. There's an awful lot of work on the front end in establishing the framework, the policies. Under the scenario that's been suggested with utilizing the school facility, that's sort of a hybrid. I would think that would require some quick study, not impossible, but some quick study. A question I have is about the scheduling. I've only had one daycare client share with me, a former client, that for their family, the schedule apparently changed where you have to pick up your child at 5 o'clock instead of 6. And if we're trying to serve the working public that might have to drive in from Suffolk, Ahoskie, or wherever, a 5 o'clock pickup for parents that are working 8:30 to 5 or 8 to 5 would be a real barrier.
You are very accurate, and that was one of the cost-saving measures that we tried to implement when we realized.
So what are the
that
current hours from open to?
7:30 to 5, is that correct?
Okay.
And we realize that it's tough for teachers who have to be at school at 7:45, They can't drop off to 7:30. It's very inconvenient.
Okay, well, thank you, that's helpful. Well, would a private operator be allowed to operate their own
Yes, sir.
hours, even if they aren't congruent with the schools? Like,
Yes,
say
sir.
somebody wanted to operate from 6:30 to 6 or something.
We are good with that.
It used to be that way. The hours used to be extended on either side in the morning and the afternoon.
Okay. All right,
Well,
so,
if I could, Madam Chair, I'd just say there's real value in this discussion, especially from a capacity standpoint for our community to be able to support a workforce. And I've heard the board discuss many concerns and initiatives about trying to improve our workforce. And we always seem to run to housing or infrastructure, but
yeah.
the daycare component is really key. If you want to retain workers, they've got to have a safe place
Right.
for those children to
And I mean,
flourish.
that's not in question, because we have email after email after email after email from parents that have stated the quality of the care that is there, the quality of the staff there, the comfort they have in knowing that their children are in the county that they're working in, for the teachers and such. But you mentioned that you know of other counties that operate, that they have it for their staff. Could it also be opened under county management to
And it
citizens,
may.
not just
I'm
staff?
guessing there's probably a model or two out there where
Okay.
they do give priority to employees, but then open it up for others. But with a little bit of a listserv
Can-
search.
I was gonna-
Can I, hypothetical out here, since this seems like, to me, sorry if it comes across wrong, a train wreck that's being shoved down our throat, but at the same time, we spend $75,000 on a lobbyist. I think if it's a $50,000 deficit, we're not going to be able to run in and suddenly stand up on our own, something immediately. But I would personally support funding the $50,000 to allow y'all to get through some X number of it, maybe in the school year or something. So if we really do have to close it, if that's the result we come to, it doesn't throw everybody out in the cold right away. That's a pretty marginal amount of money, and I would support that personally. Don't like it, wish it wouldn't have been last second, don't like any of that. But rather than trying to make a quick decision, I think quick decisions are generally bad.
If I may, too, they said 50,000 a date, which is 25,000 last month, 25,000 this month, which means they have 25,000 per month going in, not 50,000 per year, is how I interpreted that. My next question to my board was going to be, and my county manager, if we're going to look in that direction, again, not jumping the gun here, could we schedule a special meeting in the very near future so that we have time to actually get those pieces of information together collectively so our board can decide how to move forward? Now that we have the information from the Board of Education, we need to do some back-end work on our side to figure out what our actual options are.
Yeah, I think that if we continue to move forward and keep things kind of going, there's other options that are out there that we can help with.
Yeah,
And you're right, is we shouldn't run into this and make a quick decision. This is
but we also
big. It's-
don't have too long of a timeline with December
What if we
31st
don't?
around the corner.
We don't.
What a Christmas
but-
present for everybody to close the daycare by the end of the new year.
Well, the school system's already agreed to keep it open till December, and I think that we could probably do something to be able to move forward with that, to keep it open longer, and then move into really other options that we can come up with.
Right.
Okay, so am I hearing you correct? That you are willing to help us get through this difficult time, giving everyone a chance to work together to figure out what is the best steps to be taken?
Yeah, but
For the
honestly, I
future.
want assurances that people aren't being turned away from me personally.
I would like to ask you to please contact those people and have them call either Jennifer Hayes or Carolyn Hurl, because I have a hard time believing that that's happened. Now, I do have knowledge of a person who was supposed to start, and I think they told her to wait until such time as we knew what was going on. Could that be one of the people that you're saying is turned away? I don't think so, because they weren't turned away. They were just told it was a state of flux, and that was primarily because we didn't want someone who had a spot in daycare to leave that daycare, lose their spot, and then find out 2 months later, we're going to not be able to do it. So I would ask you to please have them contact
Well, I'll
Carolyn.
do that, but I'd also want the assurance that they're not being turned away. Nobody's going to be turned away at this point.
Well,
Yeah.
I've never,
Well, I'm not
to the
saying
best
you,
of my
I'm not accusing
knowledge.
you, but this is
Right.
what people, and it's not one person. So if it were one person, I would have challenged them much more heavily, but it was actually 3 different people have said, we know we've been turned away, blah, 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 blah. And it wasn't this month.
did they have a reason why they were turned away?
No, just said they weren't accepting applications, is what was told me. One of them was a little iffy, but the other 2 said, yeah, we were just told they were not accepting any more applicants.
Okay.
All right, so
Well, we can fix that.
moving forward, they're obviously expecting applicants, but I can understand the uncertainty someone would have in trying to enroll at this point with a December 31st deadline. Again, I think that December 31st, they are sustained until at this point, per what we've heard here.
Right.
I really would like us to have another work session, special meeting, so that we can have our staff do their due diligence, get the correct information in order, and it not be in a month. It needs to be within the next 5 to 7 days at the most. Collect information, and we need to be completely transparent with parents and with staff and with the community on where we're at in this process and what our actual plans are with it. We don't want to provide false hope if we don't have it. So we need to get the legalities out of the way. We need to have our attorney look into it. I think that there are probably several counties that do have daycare options across the state, but we need to learn more about the logistics of it. And I only say that because jumping on and saying like we're willing to do that, I don't want to give them false hope at this point before we have more information from our attorney and have the legalities worked out.
But see, I wasn't talking about a proposal for us to take it over. What I'm saying is that whatever deficit y'all think y'all are going to have, you're going to close in December, you're expecting to be $50,000 in the debt. I'm saying at the very least, we could say we'd fund $50,000. That puts you 2 months further down the road. You still have your $50,000 deficit. It gives us 3 to 4 months to evaluate it, which is way more reasonable than 5 to 7 days. And by then, people will have a perception of what's going down. We'll either be able to talk publicly that it's a viable option we're really considering, or, sorry, it's going to last, whatever it is, January, into February. Gives 2 more months down the road, and us make a conscious decision. If enrollments go up, that makes it less of a deficit long-term, makes it more viable. If enrollments don't go up and they stay low, then the county's got to decide if they're going to bite off that dollar amount. But I wouldn't support wanting to rush into a 5-day decision. That's not something I would support.
Oh, I wouldn't say make a decision then. I would just say have more information presented to the public.
Mr. Sauer and Commissioners, there's a resource that I have talked with them, Albemarle Alliance, which is, they work with child care and such. And when I had spoken to her, they have an idea. They work with all the counties around, and there are some that have, I think Pasquotank, they have a daycare that is, I think it's, she said it was under the school. It's Camden, under the school umbrella. So, but they're a great resource to be able to tap into quickly what counties and, you know, that kind of thing. So our Albemarle Alliance is a great resource that you can look into.
Well, and I am curious about the schedule. I wonder from folks in the audience, even with a show of hands, if the hours were extended beyond the 5 o'clock cutoff, would that bring customers?
Wouldn't that boost enrollment?
Yeah, if.
And I also think at this time, when we went to the shorter day, we did not have 2 new staff. We now have 2 new part-time staff, and I would think with them, it would be easier to put the hours back where they need to be.
So
I
an
would think that-
immediate change could be a shift in hours.
Yes, but before we go any further, do I need a motion that since we made this last decision, do I need a motion that we would like to follow Mr. Forsythe's recommendation, give us that money, give us all time to work on this?
I think we would need to make the motion first.
But we need to make sure we're going to do it after the 31st. No, I'm
Well,
just
we can-
kidding.
we can
Where's
make
Miss
it all-
Salidi?
We can make you the offer whether you take us up on it or not.
Right, we can decide if it's going to pass, what the parameters would be, the offer, the motion here, and then if you guys need to,
After we do that, can we take a break so we can talk to?
Yeah, it's probably worthwhile,
Steve and
yeah.
our Finance and make sure that.
well, we might want to do the same with our finance. Do we want to do a 10-minute intermission right now?
Yes.
But,
Yeah.
or we can't talk individuals, this is a public forum.
So myself and the vice chair could talk to finance and then
Okay,
come back
y'all
to you
do
if
that,
that's
y'all do it, yeah.
fair. That's
I'm
Okay.
hard-headed.
typically how it was,
And
and
we'll
same for
go
you
talk
all.
to Stephen.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, so can we have a motion to go into recess?
Make a motion to adjourn.
Adjourn.
Excuse me, during recess.
All right, y'all, we're going home.
Look, it's already been a long day from 5 o'clock this morning.
I'll second the recess.
All right, all in favor?
15?
15 minutes.
15, all in favor of 15-minute recess? All right, we are in recess.
How about them?
Yes, I make a motion that we take a 15-minute recess.
All in favor? Aye.
All right, so you want to talk to him and I'll talk to him and then we can come together? You talk to Nathan and I'll talk to you. What? We'll have a little discussion first. Okay.
You do it, and I'll second you.
All right, if we can have a motion to come back into session.
So moved.
So seconded.
All in favor? All right.
Motion to go back in session?
I make a motion that we go back into session.
Second.
All right. That was fun. Okay.
I'd like to, okay, if I could, I want to make a motion for us to pass a resolution for our board at our next regular meeting to fund $50,000 to facilitate the school board to have the daycare remain open through February 26th with the provision that the operating hours will return to the previous hours and continue to accept applicants through this time.
I second that motion.
Do we have any discussion? And just want to clarify, this is to
Yeah.
buy some time,
Yeah,
essentially.
buys time for the
Okay.
school board and for us to evaluate options.
And can we clarify the resumption of hours? So everybody, what would those hours be under the old schedule?
7:30 to 6?
6:30 a.m.
6:30 a.m. to 6 o'clock p.m.
All right. And due to the
Okay,
importance of
I'm
this, you
asking
want
to
to
amend my
yes.
motion to
Okay.
say 6:30 a.m. to 6 p.m.
Okay. All right. Any further discussion? We have a motion and a second. We're going to call for. Go ahead.
I do have a little discussion because I'm having a hard time with some of it. And I'm not bringing up the past or what we've lived through and what we've seen. This exact situation was brought to us in 2022 for the exact same reason. Healthcare went up, pay went up. Enrollment was still up then. And then we also have declining enrollments in the daycare. We have declining enrollments in our school system. At some point in time, we're going to have to wake up and say, hey, we're running a business here. If it cannot sustain itself, we can't keep feeding it.
All right.
Same way with the school system. I'm sorry we do it in my facility. If we have too many people,
You let some go.
somebody's got to go. It's about not necessarily making money, but being able to live off of a budget. So with that being said, we really need to watch our dollars because all of them come from taxpayers. Whether it's a business or it's property tax or whatever, it comes from taxpayers. It's my money. And I'm gonna be honest with you, what I'm having a hard time with, there's gonna be 19 people that benefit from $50,000 that should be $10,381 benefiting from. That's my hard time with it. But I do understand, I feel sorry that it's come to this far. I wish something had been done about it a long time ago. That's my piece on it.
All right. Any further discussion?
No, I'd like to say I appreciate the financial thing because I know I'm usually
Yeah.
big on the financial thing. I do see a difference, acknowledging what you said, is that just a couple years ago, we were talking $800,000 that was coming here and asked for. 50,000, and I think you're right, the number seems small, but it does affect a whole lot more people. And I'll be quite honest, I'm not sure this is going to be more than a Band-Aid short order. Some of the implications of folks in the crowd during our break was that, people still aren't sure about it. They may not come and enroll. So this might be a dead end and we're spending good money after bad. So you've got some good points there, Commissioner Craddock. I'm not doubting that at all. But this is a chance to, instead of having a sudden train wreck, to allow us to try and potentially look for other options before we just throw our hands up and say done. So,
And I think the part of that is that this just being brought to the attention
Yep.
for us to do something.
so.
All right, I'm going to call for a vote by show of hands in support of the resolution as read. All right, that is
Unanimous.
unanimous. Let's see if, okay.
I'm going to need a motion to, let me think.
We worded that differently
Sorry, I
than we
was
discussed, so
talking
they
to-
prepared for something else, so just giving them just a moment.
Madam Chair, I make a motion that we rescind what you've read previously in reference to closing the daycare as of December 31st.
Yes, and that we commit to working with us.
No, no.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Okay.
Okay.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay.
Motion so passed.
All right, so just to clarify for home, that was a motion to rescind the closing on December 31st. Okay, and then you said you were making another motion? Okay.
Madam Chair, I make a motion that we accept the $50,000 from the Gates County Commissioners, and we work to a date of February 26th that will allow the school board to go in and make all the necessary adjustments to sustain the daycare within our county, and that it would give us additional time to maybe seek for private funding as well.
Second.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Motion so passed.
All right. Yes, sir.
We're fortunate to have the school board attorney, Mr. John Leidy, here tonight, and I'm wondering if we could ask him to do some research to examine whether or not, as we look for another operator to provide these services in a public school building, is there any issue with it being a faith-based organization? And I'm not putting you on the spot tonight, but if you could do some research for us, because there very well might be a local church that would be willing to partner on such a venture. I've just seen some very successful church-based daycare, and if you're going to pay the utilities, you're going to provide the food, is that right? Or- Well, we'll work out those details, but if
Those
you pay
details,
the
okay.
utilities,
Everything that is in the daycare will be left for the incoming people to use unless staff bought it.
Okay. All right.
you could help us out.
If I could also make a suggestion to going forward, we have our next meeting, November 19th. I believe the Board of Education is November 17th. Is that correct? Okay. Excuse me. If we could have we cannot gather as whole boards without having open meetings right now, and there's some background work that needs to be done as we move forward. So if we could have two of us and two of you all work together over the next couple of weeks, we can give full reports at our meetings as to what has been researched and done so that the public does stay informed. But it will allow us to have the opportunity to get more work done, more ground covered over the next couple of weeks. And I would like to make a suggestion for myself and Commissioner Berryman to represent our board, if our board is not opposed to that. Okay. Do we need to make that a motion, or is that, okay, keep it legal, y'all? Okay.
Do you have to have a motion?
No, she said
Okay.
no.
Mr. Behrman, I will work with you.
Okay. All right, perfect. So that is going to be Ms. Ryan, Mr. Barham, Mr. Berryman, and myself will work together over the next couple of weeks, and we will both report at the 17th and the 19th to keep you all as informed as we can going forward, because I know it's a heart issue for a lot of people in this county right now. So, all right. Take a deep breath, and I encourage the emails to continue if you have further concerns, suggestions, ideas, anything like that. Thinking outside the box right now as we move forward is going to be key. And citizens, parents, staff, you might have that idea that we need to figure out how to do this. So to the citizens, to the community, please brainstorm and reach out with your ideas so that we can consider them and bring them to the table moving forward. And then we are going to jump to the next hot topic item on our agenda tonight, school consolidation. I attempted to have a AI rendition of notes from that meeting. It was pretty phenomenal, y'all, to have it recorded and transcribed, because several of my board members were unable to attend and wanted to hear it. I was pretty impressed with the way it works. I'm new to AI. I may be a millennial, but this is new to me. I did forward it to my board so that they had time to review, and I wanted to open that up for discussion with both boards, conversation, questions, input. I'll start. Did you?
No, I mean, and be honest with you, the devil's always in the details. I really would like to see the actual report itself. The presentation's nice. I've given a bunch of those in my career, and a lot of times they're summaries and looking at the details, and a lot of the statements made in there, it's hard to evaluate what's in there without having more details. To be honest with you, it's quite hard for me to just take at face value a presentation without more details. That's kind of an opening comment.
Yeah, I agree. I would like to see the whole report myself. I do appreciate the PowerPoint that was given and the presentation that was made. I think we all kind of already knew in the back of our minds that was probably the way they were going to go with it and the recommendation that was going to come through. So it's always good to validate what you're thinking as far as when you have a third party come in and make those type of recommendations. But would like to understand, a little bit more about how they came up with that, and so that detailed summary would be better. So.
Okay. Do you have any comments, questions? No? Okay.
Then I'll add a second comment
Yeah.
along with that. Obviously, I'd like to read the report, but I didn't see in there clearly something that talked about a timeline. What we're talking about in the timeline, I had a few people reach out after, I guess, the postings and all, and trying to get a clear picture of what timeline's being proposed or how that's going to happen or go forward. I did like the fact that it pointed out in there, much like Commissioner Behrman and I talked about, that, with this happening, normal attrition from people retiring, moving to other jobs and everything, it's not like for the purposes of the teaching the staff, the people really doing the educating, nobody's getting kicked out the door remotely. There's no need for that to happen. And I think, just like I expected, I think that summary said that was a clear expectation. Well, 5 positions would go away, but it's not like 5 people. But again, I'd like to see the details of how it was arrived at 5 positions. So.
Okay, and I will speak to Dr. Watson, but there is more than 5 positions, because we will be, the state, of course, funds a principal at each school. So that would just be them not giving us that funding. But there would also be a media specialist, a counselor, a full-time head custodian.
Right.
I got it written
There
down
were
somewhere.
several
But there will be other
positions.
positions that we will hopefully be able to put into other schools as needed. And here again, we have been so lucky, even with our finances as limited as they are, that we have not had to do any RIFs so far. We have been able to handle with attrition and retirements, and we pray that we will continue to be able to do that.
Is there a
So-
timeline, though, that was given in the
Oh,
report?
okay. We have this, here, you all.
I think that's what the question, the public's really dying about, what I've had questions about, when is this going to happen? A lot of people, they couldn't see the thing, even as we talk about tonight. I guarantee there's people at home right now saying, what school are they talking
Right.
about? I've
Well-
had several ask me that.
And the board, of course, is not going to be able to make that decision until there's a number of things done.
Right.
Yes, he did the study, but we also have to do evaluations of the facility, the capacity of each facility. Now, he gave us that information, as you said, but we have to go back and do that. And the membership in terms of what lines would be drawn. You have a question?
I do. In the report that he gave you, did he give any other scenarios other than the one that he presented that day, as far as what it would look like if you chose other options, or did it only present that one?
He did not give it to us.
Okay.
This is what the board received from him also.
Okay.
Now, I think that when he gave us the numbers, rooms, and all of that kind of stuff from the schools, I think he was, I felt as though he was careful not to say, this is a school that needs to go, but that you need to do your work and make sure. The state has a school closing procedure. that is relating to the public schools, and we will have to follow that procedure now that we have the consolidation report. And that means basically going through organization, cost of operation, transportation, maintaining diversity at all of our schools, the alternative uses for the building that is not used, program considerations, tentative decisions, and informational meetings. And that's when we meet with all the different schools and all the different public, and there will be hearings of all kinds of things at the different schools and just in public. And I think it seems to me a lot of work to be done before we are able to say, this is a school that we think should close. And I'm sure that each school we talk to is going to give us a long, long list of reasons why they should not be the school that closes. But I think we have to look at where we can not spend money to create more space in any of the facilities. We don't want to spend any more money. We want to do what is best going to help us save money, and going from 3 to 2, and if in the future, when I'm gone, when you want to go to 1, I've heard you say that you would like to see 1, and that may be the way to go, but that's going to be 4 or 5 years down the road, and we can't afford not to go to 2 schools next year. It's just black and white. And this is another thing that I know you would have liked us to have done earlier, but we have looked at it and talked about it and discussed it, and we know that's what we've got to do. It is just one of those things where it changes the life of so many people when you close the school. And no matter what we do, we also know there will be people that are not happy. There will be people that are happy and people that are not happy, but I can promise you that this group is going to do, with your help, with your opinions, and with all the school people's opinions, we will do the very best we can and come up with the very best possible solution.
Right. No, thank you. I think that my personal mindset, and I've said it before when we've met with you guys, I don't think dwelling on the past does anything. We're here where we are now. We need to figure out how to move forward. We need to make decisions. We need to do better at being transparent and being open on the forefront. It sounds like you mentioned going to 2 schools next year, so timeline-wise, that would, to me, would say the goal is 2 years with an undecided school at this time, closing. I do know that in that presentation, Dr. Williams had said that the first step would be the new attendance zones when decided, students impacted, geographical zones, staff, attrition, and then those informational meetings. So he did lay out the format.
And it is my understanding that by February the 1st, the board should have all the information that they need to make a decision.
And unfortunately, again, and I say this, my heart is there. I said when we were dealing with the 911 consolidation, we weren't elected to make the easy decisions. They entrusted us to make the hard decisions when we have to, and it hurts, but we have to be transparent, and we have to be open, and we have to be willing to listen and to move forward, as hard as it is, for the best of the entire community. And it's not always the fun job of attending the functions, and this is the part that none of us like. And we're here with you. We can't make that decision, but we are here with you to support you and to brainstorm ideas and to move forward together, because we do have to do it together. But as far as the decision comes, that's not on us. And we have other hard decisions to consider, but.
Can I ask a little clarity, just to be sure, because I know there's people listening that aren't in the know. So when you talk about y'all got to make a decision by February, right? Are you talking about making a decision on which school will close by February, that quickly?
Is that my understanding?
I want to make sure you're not just making a decision to close it. You're making a decision on which one by. Okay.
Okay, so what we have is, Ms. Ryan was exactly right. We got to look at our attendance zones, we got to look at our students, we got to look at our staff, we got to look at finance and maintenance, technology, child nutrition, and of course, transportation's in there. So we got to get all that information to help the Board of Education make a good, solid decision. For our meetings piece, and I'd like to get all that done by December.
Okay.
For our meetings piece, we're going to have a special call meeting to give the Board of Education that information before we go out into the communities. So what we're looking at is maybe a December the 10th meeting with a special call with the Board of Education to share information that we're going to gather through conversations that we'll have. Then we're going to have some informational meetings at each school, and that'll be in January. That's like the 13th, 14th, and 15th, but this is all tentative, so if you're writing things down, put it in pencil. And then we'll have an informational meeting with the county commissioners, and tentatively scheduled for January 27th. And then on Tuesday, February 10th, we'll have a special call meeting, and the Board of Education will consider all the information that's been gathered, and they'll make a decision on whether to close the school and consolidate 2 elementary schools, or do whatever they please to make a decision that they feel like would be good going forward for the school system, and most definitely for the students, because every decision that we make in the school system is for students. So that's your timeline.
Thank you, appreciate that.
And I'll ask, and if it already has been, then if somebody could just tell me where, is it possible for that PowerPoint presentation to be posted publicly online so that those that were unable to attend can view it? The PowerPoint? It is? It could be, if it could be put on the website. I know that I've had several ask if they could get access to it. I think that would be helpful to some. Okay. Thank you. All right. Any further comments from either board on that? Looks like we have things in motion and just wait until the next. Okay. I'm sorting through papers here. I'm sorry, we had a lot.
Is there anything else y'all wanted to share, just takeaways y'all had from the study or the results? I'm trying to put you on the spot in case there's something that may seem obvious to y'all that we may not realize. Okay, I guess I put you on the spot, sorry. I mean, I just thought in case, I've been before and had people, I'm thinking, why isn't somebody asking about the elephant on the table or whatever? And I didn't know if there was something obvious to y'all that's sticking out. Okay, maybe that'll be for another meeting.
All right. So I guess next would be the school nutrition, the child nutrition program. Just kind of an update on that. I know that it was asked in the email that we had sent if, we had elected to do the $130,000 at the beginning of the year. Just kind of an update on where we're at with that, if that's still sustainable at the numbers we've had. And we have received the September 12th, 2025 information here, but just kind of to publicly discuss. So again, those at home can be up to date, those here can be up to date on where we're at with it.
I think one of the most important things with that paper that you have is you see what the first week in August was, and then you see how we have almost doubled in our participation.
Yeah.
And I think that's very evident of kids who wanted to eat that food but may not have been able to do it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we appreciate all you have done with that.
Okay.
I think it's just a bonus.
Okay.
For them to have breakfast and lunch is perfect.
You were also able to get a grant as well, right? Was there, I thought I saw something about a grant.
Yeah, y'all, initially, they noted an allocation that was
Which is
released publicly
phenomenal
like in
that you were able to
September.
get that.
No.
I think at one point in time, they didn't think that we were going to be able to get that grant,
Oh, right.
but we ended up able to do that.
My understanding is we were able to do it because we had able to do it and continue to do it because of the increase of numbers. Right, I'm the question. I don't think it's a grant. I think perhaps it's reimbursement.
Okay, so it's a reimbursement from the federal government?
Where they had to have the increase in participation so that we could get a higher rate of funding back from the state or federal government in order to cover the cost.
The CP program?
Yes.
Yes, we have implemented that.
Could, yes. That's fine, yeah. So, look so nice. You look prepared to speak.
I didn't come here for this today.
Now, what was the question?
Just what this influx in participation has done in the, was it CEP said the participation funding coming to the county? Have we seen an increase in that as a result of what we did together?
Yes, we implemented the program, and it has really been a great success so far. Our reimbursement has almost doubled from what we received in the previous years. And it's just a great opportunity for all the kids to have the opportunity to eat their meals at no cost, and the parents don't have to be burdened down with having money on the child's account. And I believe all the schools, the participation is 80% participation, maybe a couple 79. I don't have the information in front of me, but our goal was to increase it at least by 20%, and we almost reached 100%. So it's doing really well, and with the help of the county commissioners, we're able to see an increase in our bottom line as well.
Yeah, and that's what I was trying to understand, is how the relationship with the CEP program versus the money that was given to the school system by the county commissioners, as far as how that worked and how they kind of play with one another. So it kind of...
Oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, you go right ahead.
No, we're still early in the game because we're only like a couple months into the school year. So it's just really, I guess, a challenge that we face every month just to make sure that we keep that participation up by just offering things that is appealing to the kids' taste. And we've been doing a really good job with that. So we're just hoping that we will continue to see our numbers increase as well as our bottom line.
And if I can just read this out, this line, I like, the increase in participation resulted in net reimbursement of $31,158.28 compared to August of '24, so last year at $16,681.35. So that has almost doubled in the reimbursement.
Yep, that was for August.
Yeah, so, do you have anything further?
The real people that could tell us would be the teachers if they've seen a difference. And I guess y'all are hearing from them. That would be the thing that would count the most. If the teachers are seeing a difference in the students.
In behavior,
Yeah.
yeah. Good. Okay,
All right.
thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, thank you. All right. Okay. And last,
Well, there was one other earmark that we put out there was
Computers.
for the computers. How
Yeah.
how's that kind of come along?
you're being caught up as well.
Good evening. So far, we earmarked, let's see, about 85,000 or so for computer labs. They have been purchased. They've not been installed, but they've been purchased. We haven't got them. They've been shipped, but we haven't received them yet. And then the other fund, roughly about 27,000 left, will be for Chromebooks too. As you know, the average life on a Chromebook is 3 to 5 years, and so
Not the way
they're
my
used
son
every
handles
day. So, what do
You
you
say
say?
not the way my son handles them.
Well, yeah, that's optimally, 3 to 5 years. So that will help with replenishing some of the Chromebooks as well, and we also bought a few laptops. So that's where we are right now. The next step will be, of course, to get purchase the Chromebooks, and they'll be distributed as needed to. And like Dr. Simpson said about her stuff, we do appreciate the funding for that, because it was definitely needed. Those labs are 15, 16 years old, so they really needed to be updated. So we appreciate it.
Perfect.
But that's
Thank
where
you.
we are right now. So, thank you.
Thank you. Okay. All right, and then the only other thing that I think I have, and y'all can correct me if I'm wrong, because again, it was a lot of little paperwork here. Should we kind of hit on the audit and the draft letter? We have that, everybody? Yep.
Yeah, first thank y'all very much for sending everything. I know that, there was kind of a rush to put it all together, get that whole package to the commissioners, and I appreciate the effort that was going into that. It was a whole lot of documents that, Mr. Harrell, thank you, and your team.
Yes.
As I spent my Sunday night watching football and reading budgets and numbers and audits. The biggest thing that really jumps out to myself and others, so you got your budget, you're working through that. It seems to be that you're budgeting in some fund balance to be used. I think that we always liken the fund balance to be a piggy bank, right? And we're always trying to grow the piggy bank. And some years you need to dip into it to take care of expenses, right? And some years you let it grow. And I think that that's what the school board has seen, is that year over year over year, we're using the fund balance more as being able to fund the operations of the school system. And there are years where it looks like a little bit gets added to it. We were lucky where we were able to get some additional fundings come in from different sources and all that, and that's all great stuff. But unlike the county, when our county finance director puts the budget together, he's able to be a little conservative with the revenues that are coming in based off the sales tax anticipated. And we may budget a little bit of money to be used out of the fund balance, but by the time the year kind of rolls around, there was enough revenues to come in that we didn't need that, and we actually grew the fund balance a little bit more, and through their hard work, we got a sizable amount of money there. And so it's a little different with the school, and y'all got only a finite amount of money that the school board could use, and you get X amount of dollars that's sent to you from the state. The county only has X amount of dollars that they can put in. You may get a fluctuation here and there depending on what money kind of comes in through either a grant or some kind of program along the way and all that kind of good stuff, and that's all up to the positive side. But what is concerning is that we're budgeting fund balance to be used for operational side of things. And as I was going through and I was reading the audit, one of the points that the accountant group was pointing out to the board was that, let's see if I can find that highlighted page, was that 26.6% of the overall budget was allocated to support services out of 69.9% that was truly instructional services. And I'm likening the whole support services as that's the overhead of what it takes to run your business, right? And so as I went back and I looked through, it seems like that number is like at least 7 to 8 points high. Has there been any type of concerted effort to be able to reduce the support services costs? Because as you read the statement, and actually I get to read a lot of accountant summaries and all that kind of good stuff, and usually they're pretty dry. They're only here to state the facts, and that's what I always tell my CFO is she's only here to call balls and strikes. She don't run the business. But when it's time to step up and say, that's a foul ball, she steps up and says, no, that's foul. You want to do something different there. And so for an accountant literally to say that the board has to do something to get their overhead costs in line, I've never in the 20 years that I've been reading one actually had somebody say that in an actual statement from an accounting firm. And I know that y'all just got this and y'all digesting all that stuff, so I'm not really looking for a response or anything like that. But we really got to do something to be able to rein in our overhead costs of what it takes to be able to operate our school systems. That doesn't, I'm seeing teachers as they're the engine that drives, right? Just like for me, it's my guys out in the job that they're the ones that building the buildings and getting it all done. It's only for their hard work that I have a job, right? Because I'm overhead costs. And so we got to do something to get that back in line, to get that sub 20% is what it seems like the standard is. And because basically the business of educating our children is a predominantly heavy labor intense market, because it's basically all salaries is your big expense. And so we need to see if we can't do something with that.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Any other comments?
I don't have the experience Commissioner Merriman has with budgets, but I do want to say that I've been involved with federal contracts before, and I've seen many a time where we've said that company, we're not going to entertain, pricing from them because they exceed 15% overhead for a contractor. So it's a different world. Y'all are a governmental function. It's not the same apple, but I do know that we've had times where we say, no, we don't go any further with these guys because their overhead is just too extraordinary. And we've asked them to even provide details of why your overhead's so extraordinary in order for us to pay bills for cost-plus contracts. So I don't have your level of experience with that, but I have seen that.
Just the looking ahead, there is nothing significant changing this year that would indicate that next year's funding is going to have any major increase from the county. We don't have any additional avenues of funding coming in. So I think now is, amongst all this other chaos of things that we have, I don't think it's at all too early to start projecting for next year's budget, because it's just a couple months away from when we're going to start making decisions. And again, those hard decisions are on us to make, us and you all, and together hopefully we can come up with the best option. But hard decisions are going to have to be made because we don't have money coming in from any additional sources. We have what we have, and we're not taxing our citizens more to get more. We have what we have, and we got to make it work. That means we have to change stuff internally.
Yeah.
So I think I speak for us when I say our board may not have anything further. If you all have anything that we need to discuss, I'll turn it over to you. And if I'm wrong, y'all speak up, because it won't be the first time. Okay.
I guess I'm the one that always speaks. Has something to say. That's what Sally said. I just want to say thank you for having us tonight and for us working together for the daycare and the consolidation coming, and we're working through the process of that, hence trying to do things to reduce our expenses and our costs to be able to save some money there. So we're working on that. I do appreciate all that you all have done. The child nutrition, as you've seen, that has had a huge impact on our students. So thank you. And we're trying to be good stewards, but as you all know, it's a lot of times it's process, and we're taking our steps through the process. But I do want to say thank you from me personally, and the board. I do appreciate this.
Thank you.
I concur and second what she said. And I really think that's all. I mean, I'm so glad that the meeting has gone as well as it has, and we've been able to have a reasonable give and take kind of dialogue. It's been very nice to have everyone here and be able to do that. I know you had a question about the moratorium. We're going into our third year of the moratorium, and this was another one of our cost-saving measures. And that was because the state funds us 13% for our highest need students, our exceptional children students. And within our district numbers are 18%. So we are already funding some of that with general fund, local fund. And that was another one of our cost-saving things we tried to do. And it's not permanent. It was a 3-year. We are entering into our 3rd year. And we do have lots of people who want to come to Gates County Schools. And it has been very hard to say, oh, we got this moratorium and we're going to hold off another year. But I think once we have completed the consolidation and have the 2 schools and have the room, we will be back open and waiting for people to come in. So I did want to share that with you, but I think probably we've answered questions, y'all have answered questions, made comments, and we do appreciate it very much. So thank you, and see you within the next 5 to 7 days.
Yeah,
Okay.
we'll meet. I do have one question just for clarification on the moratorium, and I think we answered it in the budget, and I'm remembering correctly. You do not get to set the rate for fees for the in-county, the out-of-county. There's a cap. Okay, that's what I was trying to remember, so it wasn't something where you can have it at state kind of capped off. Okay.
And that cap coincides with whatever it is the state gives us for a student.
For a student, okay.
You open the can.
Gotcha.
You opened the
No.
can, so I got a question.
Okay.
So along with that, so we have a teacher though that works, that's from outside the county, their kid comes, we're not charged.
Yes, employees, any employee's kid, we grandfathered in every
gotcha.
student that we had. And if you're a teacher and want to bring your kids, that's perfect. It's just we're not taking those brand new, can I please come to your
Got it,
system?
yeah. Okay.
And it's interesting because our new superintendent over in Hertford County has been he has been very tough on letting anyone leave his system. And he's doing that for the very same reason, because he doesn't want to lose money on those students that are exiting. So it's really, it's crazy how everything that has to do with school is monetarily based. We get their student, we get their tuition money. So that's where the moratorium goes, and we really needed to do it, because sometimes we have students who come in who have tremendous cost, and we don't have that money allocated for them. So that's why the moratorium, and I'm looking forward to opening it back up in a year.
Sounds good, thank you. All right, well, thank you all for meeting again. Look forward to working with you. Our superintendent, county manager doing work together, our finance director's doing work together, because we got some work to do.
We do.
Yeah. All right, well, if we can get a motion from
Motion to adjourn.
our board to adjourn in a second.
I second that.
All in favor? We are unanimous, now we have to allow them to.
I make a motion that we adjourn.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Yay. We did it, y'all.
Thank you, guys.
It was good.